Hey everybody, welcome back to Tales from the Film Set. I am Scott Churchson, Mr. Ryan O'Regan, Mr. Davion Bussey, and Mr. Robert Buddy the Elf Manning. We've been actually off for a couple of weeks due to a little bit of a hiatus on a couple of different reasons, but we are back, we are ready to go, and we are fired up because boy, do we have a lot of things to go into here. Before we go into it and talk about this stuff and break it down, get your opinions and our own, how you gentlemen doing first off?
We're back!
Yay!
We're live, ladies and gentlemen. Are we live?
We're live, yes.
Yeah, we're live.
Do it live. I've got myself a peach wine right here, which is terrible tasting, but it gets the job done. But anyway.
And the words of guest was it Gethsemane Sam?
Yes.
My biscuits are burning. Fire
my biscuits are burning. That was one of the last roles for Mel Blanc too. But all right, so we got a fair bit of things we're going to get into right now. We're going to do some cash or trash for some of the movies coming out in May of 2024. Sadly, part of it has to do with the fact that there's another Garfield movie because Lord knows we needed that. Lord knows we also need another Chris Pratt animated movie, but we'll get into that in due course. We'll talk some Fall Guy. We'll talk some Planet of the Apes. Ryan Reynolds is, upcoming blockbuster extravaganza. Yes. Before his other blockbuster of upcoming extravaganza.
Yes.
But before we get into that, we have to talk about somebody else. Ryan, do you want to roll with that while I'm getting this thing set up?
Sure. So, the reason I'm being very quiet right now, as everyone else was hooting and hollering about our return, is because there was an article posted in Variety today and was regards to Jerry Seinfeld, the Ubermensch of comedy of past generation, who does have a movie coming out, his directorial debut, about the making of Pop Tarts, which is going to be on Netflix. And of course, that's why they wanted to go ahead and talk to him. And he had some thoughts in regards to how comedy is on television nowadays and how it's pretty much a political issue where the left and PC crap has apparently affected comedy.
Yes.
And I'm like, what? I'll go into the actual report itself since we got Jerry's face up there.
Yeah, why not?
Got to put on the Coke bottle glasses for this one because I want to look my nerdiest.
I do have the video here if you want it.
I take offense to that.
Well, light's shining on it, so.
I got glasses, man.
Oh, okay. Let's focus on the glasses. More focus on what I'm saying. So he has typed up. The interview was had with the New Yorker.
Hey, sir, how's it going? How are you?
Sorry about that. I'm screwing it all up. Go for it.
So yes, talking about his movie Unfrosted, he said Jerry Seinfeld stated that the PC crap and the extreme left is making television comedy go extinct. Seinfeld is a sitcom icon thanks to his eponymous NBC sitcom that ran between 1989 and 1998. So 9 years. But he says viewers no longer flock to their television sets in order to get their comedy fix like they did for decades. Quote, should I do it in the Jerry Seinfeld-esque voice?
Yes, you have to.
Let me get myself ready for that.
What's the deal with TV comedy?
Nothing really affects comedy. People always need it. They need it so badly that they don't get it. It used to be you would go home at the end of the day. Most people would go, oh, Cheers is on. Oh, MASH is on. Oh, Mary Tyler Moore is on. All in the Family is on. You just expected there be something funny, some funny stuff we can watch on TV tonight. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? Where is it? This is the result of extreme left and PC crap and people worrying so much about offending other people. Now, I'm going to pause right there. First of all,
as we bask in the Jerryness of that.
I apologize for my Jerry Seinfeld.
Not bad. Better than I could do.
I could have gone worse. I could have, but now I want to ask you guys: do you think there are no funny shows on television anymore? But just from your general perspective.
Day, go ahead, please.
You don't have to raise your hand. This isn't class.
Well, I'm going to make this a funny show. Be honest with you, we got out of the whole 90s era, the late 20s era, and we elevated, excuse me, to this PC era shows because of the fact that everybody's offended. You can't really talk about anybody without having them offended. Even Dave Chappelle mentioned it. Cat Williams. Eddie Murphy, for a perfect example. He don't do comedy like he used to. You know, after watching Candy Cane Lane, what really, it wasn't really funny. It was okay. It was something for the kids. But we missed the old tropes, the old sensible comic where you chuckled, even though it was a little offensive. But it was comedy. And we got to the point where we get into an era where we lost our sense of humor. We lost being human. We lost the assets of laughing at certain things and it being just we know it's a joke. But some people take it to heart because, I've been bullied in high school or elementary and I'm scarred for life. Oh my God. Get over it. You're an adult. I'm an adult. I got bullied all my life. You don't see me complaining about probably some other things, but not about that. Like, shoot, we got to the point where we hold grudges when something's being brought up about us or about our past or about our lifestyles or about anything. And we're like, I should not be made fun of. Get over it. Get freaking over it.
Dave, if I can interrupt, when was the last time you laughed? Because you're getting deep into this. Like, I'm just asking about TV shows.
It's in general. It's not just TV shows. The last time I laughed was going to a Mike Epps comedy show. And I was, my uncle, and I think my aunt's brother. It was in, I ain't going to go through that. I was in the audience. Me, my uncle, and my aunt's brother. Sitting here enjoying Mike Epps. The guy from Friday after next Sunday. He looks at me in the audience and he said, "You blend into black." I'm like, I'm not even that black. I'm brown. We ain't dealing with this. But it was funny. Look at the legendary, what's his name? Oh God. Bernie Mac. Legendary Bernie Mac. He made fun of everybody. Made fun of kids. He made fun of adults. He made fun of disabled people. He made fun of himself. He made fun of everybody. Especially that line when he said some milk and cookies. Especially in the line when he basically was cracking jokes about his son riding the yellow bus, and he was making fun of the bus driver and Kings of Comedy. That's when comedy was comedy. It was hilarious.
Okay. That's stand-up. That's stand-up. And there actually is a part about that in the article, but we'll get back to that. Rob.
Yeah, you didn't quite finish the entire quote on that, too. There's a big part of that quote, I think, that has to be addressed also. Yeah. That adds clarity to all this.
But Rob, the youngest of the panel here, the one who is technically of a whole different generation, do you think television shows have lost their ability to be funny?
I mean, it depends on what kind of comedy you're talking about. If you want slapstick comedy, like just laughing every second of the show, then yeah. But when I'm watching the show, I don't want to laugh the entire time. I want to feel the emotions and laugh when you're supposed to laugh, or when it's given the time, but not like laugh the entire time. I don't know. I like a mixture of both, but that's just my opinion.
All right. If I can I throw something in on this?
Yes.
Go on.
So here's my take on this. And by the way, if an echo pops up or anything like that, let me know. Just raise your hand or flip me off or whatever's got to be done.
Okay.
Every year, the United Nations has a report that comes out in March called the World Happiness Index. And what it is, it breaks down 143 different countries around the world and breaks them down by categories of life expectancy, cleanliness, of air quality, food quality, wage disparity, so on and so forth, dozens of categories. The United Nations had their recent report come out a month ago. The people over the age of 60, the United States was ranked 10th overall. Not a bad number. Usually for things like this, the Finlands, the Denmarks, the Norways, the U.S. for people over the age of 60 was 10th in the world. Pretty good. For people under the age of 30, according to the United Nations, we are the 62nd happiest in the world out of 143. So in this case here, I think it has less to do with what Jerry Seinfeld said and more has to do with the fact that as the under 30 crowd, statistically per the United Nations, is a more unhappy and greaterly depressed crowd that has an impact on this. Social media has had obviously a great tie into a lot of this stuff. That is not my number. I can show you the report. It's easy enough. But I found that mind-blowing that the future generation, Rob, sorry, you're part of that. You guys are middle of the pack here. You're a society where your biggest problem really centers around trying to figure out, okay, maybe a little bit with ends meet, whatever, fine. But you got food in your stomach, roof over your head, Wi-Fi, electricity, gas, toiletries, water, all this kind of stuff, and you're middle of the pack. There were third world countries on this list that had their youth happier than the United States. So I think in some ways it's a much ado about nothing, about people wanting to just be angry about something because their anger gives them a validation and a purpose.
Okay. I think maybe I need to read some more of the article because we have just gone way far beyond what I was even just considering here. So, if I may continue.
Please.
Sure.
Okay. Oh, boy. All right. Glasses back on.
You brought it up, man. This is on you.
Right.
Facts.
Seinfeld noted that comedy fans are now going to see stand-up comics because we are not policed by anyone. The audience polices us. We know when we're off track. We know instantly, and we adjust to it instantly. But when you write a script and it goes into 4 or 5 different hands, committees, groups, here's your thought about this joke. Well, that's the end of your comedy. Now, I will say maybe there are too many special interest groups that go ahead and try to get themselves mixed and mingled when it comes to what goes on television or what goes on streaming and everything like that, when it usually was just the studio heads and that was it. Yes, more people do have a say in things, but I don't think that necessarily hurts comedy itself. I think the issue is there are just now more outlets where you can find comedy. Back in the day, comedy was either on your television, it was in your movies, or it was at the comedy club. Streaming was not an option. Phones were not an option. It wasn't able to just be in your hand if you wanted to go ahead and watch something that laughed. You actually had to go to these established venues, these churches of humor, if you will. It was either your movie theater, your comedy club, or your own living room. That's why certain nights were built up on certain comedies. TGIF was built around that. Must was built around that. But the fact of the matter is, there are just now more options. There are more options, there are more voices, there are more opportunities for other people to share a type of comedy that may be of better interest to certain people rather than being fed the same canned laughter, scripted, oh, I see a catchphrase coming, sort of comedy that we've been used to.
Hey.
You know, not everything is Family Matters, not everything is Seinfeld anymore.
Yeah.
And mind you, I do find the irony, and yes, the fact that you did say stand-ups. Stand-ups certainly have their issues with whether or not they get canceled or not. But there will still always be fans that want to go ahead, pay the money, see them live. But that's a live experience.
Boom, there goes the dynamite.
A little bit better than, say, just going ahead and pulling up the newest venture from Comedy Dynamics on Hulu. You know, that there are other ways to go ahead and about getting your chuckle on. So, and mind you, Jerry is saying this during the same month that his co-creator of Seinfeld, Larry David, just finished up his series, Curb Your Enthusiasm, which, as many people have said, is one of the best, if not the best, scripted comedies of the last 10, 15 years.
Well, it's not really scripted. More, it's a guided outline, but that's good.
Yeah.
Still, it's
having been on this, they ad-libbed the snot out of all of it.
And mind you, the stuff that they get away with on Curb Your Enthusiasm, ooh, you could not do that on network.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think the fact that it's a grandfathered show helps? That if Curb came out now, do you think it would get the same level of forgiveness? You know, you look at somebody like, say, Richard Pryor or George Carlin. You know, had they come out now, would they have actually been canceled? Or is it one of those things that's grandfathered in because it's so old?
I like to interject on that one. I agree with you. I really think that those people would have been canceled, to be honest with you, because if you actually saw they stand up, you actually saw the movies they were in, it would have been frowned upon. And they probably would not get a syndicate television show or streaming network because of the fact that of the content or the stuff that they basically put out there. So, that said, you know, maybe Red Fox because of the Sanford son, but if you're talking about the other guy, I forgot his name. God, you just said it.
Richard Pryor? Gregory Hines.
Richard Pryor. Oh my God.
Would Pryor be canceled now?
He would be canceled.
Now, Ryan does have a great point, though. Because the plethora of options that are out there, just YouTube alone, forget streaming, you know, there is so many things that fit right into your wheelhouse so much easier that it's a lot easier to differentiate between right up front what you're going to like and what you don't. You know, YouTube alone can basically give you 50 different things based on your interests, and it knows that you will like them. So it allows you the opportunity to be a little bit more picky as far as what you want. Where back in the 90s, it's like, okay, this is what's going to be on Friends tonight, followed by Frasier. We don't know. It could be funny. It could not be. But you know what? We didn't have a lot of options. So, Ryan, that's 100% accurate.
Say again?
Ryan, you right.
Sorry, I just needed that vote of confidence today.
Okay. No, listen, it is a valid point because look at what, like I said, what YouTube has, Hulu. I mean, I just finished up Girls Five Eva. That is right in my freaking wheelhouse. Anything Tina Fey, Robert Carlock, I'm locked in because the word humor is brilliant. But a lot of people look at it and it's not like pop culture Space Jam 2 level humor, and therefore they brush it off because it's not interested. You know, I prefer word humor. I like word humor. So
people like Space Jam 2?
No, a lot of them did. A lot of people your age did, yeah. They said it was better than the first one.
What?
What? Dude, the vote is on. Basically, a lot of people think Space Jam 2 was better than Space Jam 1. I disagree. Space Jam 1 to be very original.
Maybe 15-year-olds and like 12-year-olds, but not people that are 27.
Some of them there too, but those that remember MJ playing will be more inclined to go with that one because just stupid things like watching Charles Barkley walk into a wall or Patrick Ewing get a basketball bounced off his head was just funny because it was the big A-list names of basketball, and they're just lampooning themselves. And you're like, oh, this is awesome. Could you imagine Steph Curry getting a basketball bounced off his head in a commercial?
Oh, don't get me started with Steph Curry. Not get me started with Steph Curry.
Well, actually, funny you traversed into movies, because outside of Seinfeld's particular viewpoint on television comedy and how the networks don't want to do anything risque or do anything of note, apparently, which how you look at some of the shows that there have been on, and I'd say that I don't know. Norman Lear, if he was dead, he'd be rolling in his grave hearing this. But he did go on to talk about movies as well. With his Netflix movie Unfrosted set to stream in May, Seinfeld has been making the press rounds for a few weeks and giving his blunt thoughts on the state of Hollywood. He proclaimed, "The movie business is over," in a recent interview with GQ magazine. He quote, "Film doesn't occupy the pinnacle in the social, cultural hierarchy that it did for most of our lives.
We've all agreed with that one.
When a movie came out, if it was good, we all went to see it. We all discussed it. We quoted lines and scenes we liked. Now we're walking through a fire hose of water trying to see it. So what? Anything has replaced film? Depression? Malaise? I would say confusion. Disorientation replaced the movie business," Seinfeld answered. "Everyone I know in show business every day is going, 'What's going on? How do you do this? What are we supposed to do now?' That I find damn near infuriating. All right. Look, admittedly, there have been some trip ups. There have been some trip ups in movie making. Yes. We certainly saw that in the past couple of years with big budget movies flopping, very few mid-level to low-level movies being pushed in theaters, which could easily have been great comedies, but they were not. And ultimately, if it wasn't for Barbenheimer, probably people wouldn't even bother thinking about going to a theater unless it was something worthwhile. But all right, you, me, we all live around movies. All right, movies and television, that is our bread and butter. We watch it, we review it, we critique it. We want to be in it. It is a part of all of our structural lives, whether it be Rob wherever he is around the Chicago area, or the three of us in the tri-state area.
For us, you're Chicago. Rob, you're Chicago, basically, by comparison to us. Yeah,
That's the best, biggest city near Rob, Chicago.
That's fair.
I'm in Arkansas.
Chicago. Sorry, Chicago is the biggest major city by you.
Yeah.
Little Rock would be actually St. Louis.
Obviously, there's a certain bias when we
Look at
hear how bad Hollywood can be, because Lord knows we see enough projects that are going on. We see the hustle that a lot of people are trying to do to get things going, especially after the pandemic and after the strikes, when the industry itself was slow to a crawl. So if you want to go ahead and critique on that, that's completely understandable. We are in a little bit of a stopgap area where the industry itself does have some problems that it is still ironing out from years ago. But to go ahead and look at the successes that we have had in theaters, even just this year, and to say that the industry itself is faulty just because your damn 70-year-old ass can't get your movie into theaters and instead you got to go to Netflix. Keep that energy over there. All right. As far as I'm concerned, Seinfeld has been on this trip where he has just been so disgruntled about anything of a younger generation or any critique of what his comedy was as opposed to what it is now. And that's why he stopped doing stand-up at colleges, because he doesn't want to deal with the audiences. It's like, first of all, I'd love to see the college kids that are paying to see Jerry Seinfeld. All right. I'd rather see them see Jerry Lewis, and his body is probably buried 6 feet under somewhere in France. All right.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Well, Seinfeld is a guy who I'm going full rant here. Seinfeld is a guy who I believe got high on his own supply. All right. He had his show and it did well on NBC, and Lord knows it made a career for a lot of people. But you know what? He has been riding this goddamn Seinfeld wave for way too long. All right. Just because he has all the money from the residuals, he feels like he doesn't need to do anything more. He doesn't need to improve. He doesn't need to upgrade. We learned that for the proper artists, there are people that go ahead and change with the times and learn how to refine what was good and make it better. Look at someone like Madonna. She is constantly reinventing herself. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. But you know what? She is always taking what is her and actually developing it so this way more people can see it than ever before. Seinfeld is one of these people that is so stuck in his own ass, sniffing it and loving the smell of it, that he feels he can do no wrong. Whereas really, I don't care how many people watch his damn reruns. That's all he has left. He is essentially the biggest one-hit wonder I have ever seen in my life as far as television and comedy is concerned. And thank God Larry David at least went ahead and made his show so that this way we could actually get a comparable version of what Seinfeld could have been as opposed to what Seinfeld was. So that this way we could see that there were options, there were better options. Even the ending of the series itself this month showed, oh, we should have ended Seinfeld like this. Absolutely. Even had to get the cameo. Don't tell me comedy is dead just because your comedy is one of the dead ones.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
Wow. Damn.
It's gonna take. All right.
Damn.
His hair moved on that one.
Yes.
It's been a day.
And one name that we should, or that when I think of comedy stand-up is Matt Riff.
I can't hear Ralph for the life of me.
You can't hear me?
No, we can hear you. We just don't know who that is.
Yeah, we don't know.
You end up sounding like Mumbly from Dick Dastardly.
Matt Riff?
Matt Riff.
Oh, comedian and actor. Okay. Yeah, well, see, again, he's one of those young people. Oh, yeah, his comedy special, OnlyFans. Okay. He's one of those young-in comedians.
That can say whatever he wants. And he'll say things that are out of his mind, and sometimes he gets backlash, but he does say some stuff that are, but he's somebody that hasn't been canceled for what he says. Now there are people that try to get him canceled, but he hasn't been canceled, and he had a feature on Netflix too.
So here's the thing. I mean, Ryan, I do see your point 100%. And calling him the biggest comedic one-hit wonder, I think is a good argument, because nobody remembers his time on the show Benson, or B-Movie for the most part. And while some of the other cast, like, for example, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, Patrick Warburton, they have continued on and done very well for themselves outside of it.
Just to point that, name me one set of Seinfelds that you remember.
Wait, say it again.
Something he actually did during his stand-up. And I'm not talking about his cadence, so it's like, what's the deal with airplane food? Not that nonsense. Actual set delivery lines. Can you remember it?
The closest thing I can think of is he had a stand-up special called I'll Tell You Again for the Last Time. That's about all I can really give you, to be honest.
Yeah, because his comedy is just that. It's just shtick. It's not even so much what he's saying. It's just how he's saying it. It's essentially Larry the Cable Guy with "Get Her Down."
Well, I mean,
delivery is his substance is crap.
Seinfeld.
Someone like Matt Rife. Yeah, no, I've seen Matt Rife's comedy, and his stand-up can be a little iffy from what his setup and punchline stuff. But my God, his crowd work right up there with Todd Barry. Like, he does some phenomenal crowd work. But that's the kind of thing that you only get if you go to a live stand-up show. You're not necessarily going to get that because you're not part of that experience if you're simply watching on television or if it's in a scripted situation like a sitcom.
I gotta disagree with that because me watching the videos on TikTok, I feel like I'm there and I'm laughing with the crowd work, and that's how he's gained the followers that he has, because he posts the different crowd works that he has done, and they go viral.
But that's because it's easier because you can actually show what works and what doesn't. So that's one of the things that we have with social media. Is it a good thing? No. Is it a bad thing? Because it's not. No, listen to me. Because it's not giving the full essence of stand-up. It's not giving the full essence of being at a stand-up comedy show, seeing this person perform. So that person just threw out that one aspect and put it on social media. And then next thing you know, that's getting blown up. But when you watch go to the actual show or watch the actual stand-up, you're like, this is crap.
You know what it is? Here's the thing. Growing up with Seinfeld, watching Seinfeld back in the day myself, there were a lot of iconic things. And again, it was part of that must-see TV era where Thursday night was like Friends and Frasier and, like Just Shoot Me. It was like NBC had these 2-hour blocks where they just crushed, and eventually later on they would have like The Office and 30 Rock and Parks and Rec. They crushed again. But we would go into work the next day and just be like, hello, la, la, la. And it was these water cooler kind of things that wouldn't work now because there are so many options out there. If I sat there and I went basically, I need an adult, I need an adult, I am an adult. No one's going to get that reference.
You need an adult to your adult.
I need an adult. I am an adult. No one's going to get that reference unless you're Dragon Ball Z Abridged. It's so minute because basically nowadays with comedy, we have so many options. And Ryan, you're dead right on this. And I think this hurts it a little bit because you look at what Seinfeld said, and originally going into this, I was kind of like, I do agree with it because comedy is very careful now where you just can't say certain words on TV. You get canceled and your career is toast. But at the same time, you have shows like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is like Seinfeld on acid. There are episodes that are banned on Hulu that you have to find on like foreign websites to watch because Hulu and Disney is like, this is not acceptable. We can't even play this. But
right.
yeah,
Mind you, even if you look at regular sitcoms, the track laughter and everything.
Oh, I hate track laughter.
For years, we've had some popular and well received, although some critique, sitcoms possible. How I Met Your Mother.
That was a good show.
Theory.
Mostly, it wore out a little bit towards the end.
Yeah.
A lot of people still like, and that's the stuff that is of that traditional comedy makeup for television. Some of the best stuff out there, it's not like that.
Young Sheldon did good.
Curb Your Enthusiasm. Stuff that it may be on other networks as opposed to NBC or ABC or Fox or CBS that actually goes against what Seinfeld is saying. But just because it's not accessible to like the standard 5 channels that we've had ever since the dawn of television, people don't want to recognize it.
Right.
Open up your minds and open up your wallet if you have to spend a little bit more money to actually see the rest of the world as opposed to being stuck within your little turn dial television that apparently Seinfeld still loves, then do so. And you'll be thankful that you did because you'll see how much is out there.
Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead, Rob.
It's funny. I want to comment what Scott said earlier. When you said I need an adult, my generation, yes, is not going to pick up that's from Dragon Ball Bridge. My generation will quote that with the quote that's on TikTok is when they say I need an adult, they say you are an adult, and then it goes, I need an adult to your adult. But that's what my mind said when you said that.
Growing up, when I was about 8 years old or something, I was one of the only kids in the neighborhood that actually had cable. And it was a cable box with letters A through, I think, like U. And you clicked on the little button. H was Nickelodeon. I remember that. But we were like one of the only kids there. But otherwise, most kids had like 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and some UHF station, which if you're lucky, you got the scrambled porn on it, where you could see like, purple boobs and such. But that was all we had back in the day,
I only got the boobs once I actually went to my grandmother's and she had cable.
Okay, like I said, you get that scramble thing going on where you
had that scribbled Spice Channel.
Yeah. Where it's like weirdly centered, so you get the boobs down below and the legs up top because it's not like aligned. Kids today don't appreciate it.
That's where you found them.
Kids, we did not have elevator tube and Pornhub back in the day. But like I said, in this case here, I think a lot of people are coming after Jerry because, there are so many options. And I've been reading the comments on Twitter on this, and I think comedy evolves, I think, naturally over time. 100 years ago, a squirting flower and a banana peel was prime A-list vaudevillian comedy. Now it's dumb as crap. Mm-hmm. So comedy just naturally evolves in its own way. Now, I'm a little bit I'm a little bit old on this one because I do prefer word comedy over like visual comedy. So things like I said, what I talk about with like Girls 5 Eva, the little nuanced things that they would throw in there were genius to me. Again, this is why I like Tina Fey and Robert Carlock so much. Between 30 Rock and Kimmy Schmidt and now this, it's the kind of stuff that's right in my wheelhouse. So absolutely my wheelhouse. But then there's other things out there where you got to have that pop culture side of it. It's like, I don't care. Oh, good. They made a Matrix reference. Okay, great. Whatever. Don't care. Show me something that I can think about. And I think that's part of the problem, which dates me, because I think the TikTok generation, sorry, Rob, doesn't want to put that time of effort and reflection in on comedy.
But I will speak for Rob, where it's like, because of things like TikTok and Vine and YouTube, there has been an exploration into comedy. Like, how fast can you get the joke off? And they have proven that you don't need a lot of this whole large setup or intricate, necessary or unnecessary timing of things in order to make a joke work. You can get a joke done in 7 seconds if it's good enough. And so just the simple fact that we can now laugh faster and we can laugh easier does not necessarily mean that comedy is dead. It just means there is now a momentum that some people have to keep up with.
It evolves.
You are relegated to older types of comedy that are easier to follow. So, Rod, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So basically, it's kind of like that side versus this side a little bit. Although I do agree.
I love stand-ups. I've done stand-up. I know some people that have gone ahead and bled for their careers to go from the late 2000s to today, decades. They've put in the work. And when I think about how they started their sets when they were gaining notoriety and what they do now, even they have had to go ahead and change and evolve. You can't stay with the same shtick over and over again. Any good stand-up will tell you that. You do your bits for a couple of months, maybe a year or so, refine it, go to the clubs, get it all done. But then the minute everything shines and you're able to premiere it properly, you get into some new stuff. You're always having to refresh your repertoire. I think Dave Chappelle is somebody that honestly does that himself. And maybe it's a little bit to his detriment because he doesn't know how to handle some of the new topics, but he is someone else who actually does that stuff. No, regardless if he does seem like an old man nowadays, he is somebody who can do that.
But he's that.
Television shows can do that. Movies can do that. Stand-ups can do that. And the problem is there are just some people that like what they like and to hell with anything else rather than having an open mind. And
Which is a problem in its own right.
Is one of those people.
Which is a problem in its own right.
Right.
Well, when you're as powerful as Jerry Seinfeld is, yes. Because unfortunately, he gets to go ahead and voice that opinion. And people
is he powerful now, though? I mean, you think about it. Who's more powerful, him or say like, who's the guy I'm thinking of? Short comedian dude, Jumanji.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart, thank you. I mean, honestly, Kevin Hart's probably bigger by far than Seinfeld is at this point.
Yes, though I would almost hate to say Jerry Seinfeld plays to a more general audience, unfortunately, whereas Kevin Hart has his specific fan base.
Not a game. We ain't talking about practice. Not a game.
That's the thing. I'll quote Kevin Hart for days. All right.
I know Kevin Hart from his TikToks, and he always goes around and says, "Let's make a TikTok. Let's make a TikTok."
No, I can't. No.
Oh, she wasn't ready. No.
Well, see, I don't usually watch stand-up generally because I can't find it interesting enough. You know.
No, but that's the thing. A lot of television network stars were probably stand-ups at one point.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, Amy Schumer came from that. Adam Sandler.
Something a little bit more toned down. Think of Bob Saget. Bob Saget. Oh boy, he was a blue.
Oh wow!
He was not Danny.
Wow, Kyle. Wow.
Damn.
Hold on, my glasses are off. What's Kyle saying?
Hang on, I'll put it back up.
He said Kevin Hart feels like a new model of Chris Tucker with delivery and style.
He does have better delivery and style than Chris Tucker. I will give you that. Chris Tucker was also
but Kevin Hart never worked alongside Jackie Chan in 3 movies.
It was a gimmick.
No, but he worked with The Rock.
He did. So all right. Are we good on this or Ryan? Ryan, do you feel better now? Should I ask?
He wants to go ahead and say that I'm wrong about Jerry Seinfeld or the state of comedy in your media. Go ahead, say it in the comments. If you can get through Kyle's, and just let me know what you think. If you think I'm right about how Jerry's wrong, I love you. If you don't, fine.
Love you.
No matters. I just won't, read it out loud or care.
Ryan,
I'll print it out and wipe my ass with it on toilet paper.
Yeah. Ryan, just to let you know, some of this younger generation, that's like Rob's generation, they're not going to know who Jerry Seinfeld is.
Yeah.
Well, I know who Jerry Seinfeld is.
Well,
Again,
they'll know when his movie comes out and whether or not it gets watched. Who knows?
it won't.
It costs more work for them to do research on it.
Look, you want to know how pissed off I am about this whole Jerry Seinfeld thing? I'll just say this.
Oh, we know how pissed off you are about this Jerry
You
Seinfeld.
just expressed it.
To the degree. I would rather watch a Pete Davidson stand-up special than anything of Jerry's.
Oh, that's a. Where's the explosion? Where's the explosion button? Wow.
That's how serious.
Wow. And ladies and gentlemen, he does not like.
Now that I've made that pivotal point, we can move on.
All right. That was not bad. That was only 41 minutes on that, by the way. Not terrible.
Wow.
That's being trimmed.
Well, we'll figure that one out on the day. All right. So, like I mentioned in this case here, it is now cash or trash time. Something we do typically at the end of every month here, where we look at the upcoming movies that are coming out in the month of May, breaking them down based on their budget. Will they make their money back? Will they fail epically at the box office? Curiously enough, so far this year, 4 months in, only 3 movies in theaters have actually made $200 million or more.
Yeah.
And they are Dune 2. Actually, it was Dune 2. Crap baskets. I had it and I lost it. Anyway, you know what they are. Kong, yeah. I lost it. Anyway, good job. Good job, Scott. Woo!
Third one's probably Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Panda, thank you. Good one. But in this case, four months into this, and we don't have any. We only have 3 movies that broke 200 million. Now again, it's not summer and everything like that, but it's interesting in this case. So we're going to break down the 4 movies we got here based on their budget, based on what they need to do to break even. Forget basically making a profit, but break even. No, Free Guy. That guy we're going to be talking about later. The guy that did Free Guy is going to be coming a little later. But for Ryan Gosling's Fall Guy, which is a movie remake of a Lee Majors TV show from the 80s about an aging, and boy, he does not look aging by comparison to most stunt people I see. An aging stunt guy who, in the TV show, would solve crimes using the experiences and the knowledge he has in a very blue-collar setting. Now, I will tell you outright, most stunt guys do not do the stuff that they do on TV. Stunt guys are there in case something happens. This right here, what I'm about to do, that is a stunt if you were actually on the receiving end, because I might hit you. And that is $1,200 a day to walk in the door. Stunt guy, you get the stunt guys who are there who get set on fire or jump off buildings or things like that, demolition guys. Those guys are paid extra for every single take. I've seen guys set on fire. They get paid $100 extra. Now I think $150 extra for every single take. Most stunt guys are there just in case something happens. I have done stunt work because I had to be there in case the principal didn't want to drive a car at 10 miles an hour. So I got a stunt rate in Orange is the New Black for one of the cast members of Severance because I sat there the entire day in case he did not feel like driving away from the prison on one day. He decided to do it at 10 miles an hour. I got a stunt rate and sat basically with crew. That's stunt work.
If you can get it.
So, but yeah, good. Oh my God, great work if you can get it. But in this case, this movie is 125 million. It has the star power of Ryan Gosling, who is arguably one of the most attractive men in Hollywood, and I kind of man crush on the guy myself. So it would need $250 million to break even. Gentlemen, what do you think?
Yeah.
I'm going to start first to let y'all know I am going to the screening to see this film.
Okay.
So
when are you going?
I will not put any input in on this film because of me going to the screening.
Do you want to give it to us privately?
What? Hold on. Can I ask, why do you not want to? You haven't seen the movie. You're going to the screening, so why not give a preview of what you? Because you think that may affect you going to the screening?
It could hurt him that way, yes.
Okay, then never mind.
Yeah, you do a lot, Ryan. Actually, Ryan, you too. But Day, you do a lot of early movie screenings, so I'm guessing you're going what, Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Tomorrow, okay. So in this case here, there is a certain way you have to smooth certain things and play certain things. So yeah, no, I completely understand that. I would be curious on this side if you're willing to tell us privately and just so we just have it for ourselves. But no, you're under no obligation to basically do it in this case. Feel free to skip.
Technically, we already know his answer because he gave his answer last month.
No, he didn't. He did not give his answer on that. Ryan, go ahead.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I'm just going to tell you right now, since this is May and it is my birth month, and then we have 2 other Ryans that are going to have movies coming out this month, there may be some bias. The Summer of Ryan.
A Summer of Ryan.
Yeah.
Summer of Ryan, 100 years. No. So I feel like since this is starting off the month, it definitely will make its money. It depends on how long they keep it in theaters. Because I can definitely see this compared to some of the other stuff that is out now and some of the stuff that's coming out in May. That this could be counter-programming for a lot of that. This is not necessarily a family movie. This is not necessarily an animated movie. This isn't even necessarily a horror movie. So it's filling in that action-adventure gap that we are not going to probably have filled until Deadpool and Wolverine. So I would say it will definitely be a hit. And I hope that it's a hit simply because Ryan Gosling, man. I want it to be good for him. I don't want him to just lean on having to be Ken all the time. He is Knuff, but he is also more than Ken. All right. The man was once Hercules as a child. All right.
Yeah.
Come on. I watched that series. I watched it before they put him in that character. When they had like a tall, brown-haired young Hercules that they played during the actual series until they got its own series. So I've been following this guy for the longest. And if he can go
Glad
ahead,
you're dating us with that, by the way. Thank you very much.
Yeah, if he can go ahead and make this his franchise, because really he needs one. He needs something that's just solely him. Then absolutely go for it.
Now, in this case, it would need to make 250 minimum to basically break even. Do you think it can do that?
I think it can because, like I said, it's going to be early enough in the month where it's going to have like the first couple of weeks where it's probably going to have a little bit of competition depending on what is coming out. But then once Memorial Day weekend hits, boom, you will probably see some type of good resurgence coming through.
Are you saying that basically it's going to overtake Garfield? Excuse me.
Yes, it has to.
We'll get to that one in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get to Garfield, all right? Because I've got Magical Society the way Day did for his birthday. All right, this stupid movie. All right, continue.
Here's the thing. I think this movie is going to be close. I mean, it does have Emily Blunt in it. Hannah Waddingham, whose stock has actually probably never been higher because of Ted Lasso. I think it's close. I'm going to say cash barely. I think Ryan Gosling's star power and probably ab power will have a lot to do with it. Rob?
I think he can because he's just Ken. Therefore, cash.
All right. Fair enough.
And as far as Davion goes, Davion knows it's going to be a smash hit. It's going to crush the shit out of Dune 2 on this. It is going to be basically the cinematic equivalent of Jesus' resurrection. Until the next movie that Day has to see in theaters. Basically, it's the free tickets to see in theaters.
Right.
So, okay, good. So yeses across the board. But like I said, it's one of those things that it's a remake of the TV show with Lee Majors from back in the day. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. What's that?
It was Lee Majors, the $6 Million Man.
Yeah.
I could see that.
And speaking of stunts, we have stunt interviews coming up soon.
We do, and we're going to get into that in due course. So stay tuned. Stay tuned to the social media channels for all the things that you guys at the bottom shelf have. I happen to have. Ryan's got Holy Hannah, do we have a lot of stuff in the pipeline. Whoa, all four of us have different things individually that we're making happen. So welcome to the future of Streampunk Entertainment, where we just chat with celebrities, YouTubers, and athletes about the things they want to talk about, but never get the chance to. That is going to be the entire crux of this channel, I think, with the exception of the pay-per-view. You know, holy Hannah. Oh boy. Day, I'm personally very excited about yours, and I told my wife about it. She is equally excited about that, so please let me know how that one's going to play out. Dude.
All right.
So,
Next film.
all right, moving on.
Ugh.
Next up, we got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes coming out on the 10th. This is the latest in the series. To be fair, I hate to say it, but I have not actually seen any of the remake ones, which eventually what I'll probably do is I'm just going to plow through each one of them, post the Mark Wahlberg one, and go through each one at a time, so I can really just Fast and the Furious that entire franchise. The franchise still works. The budget on this is $120 million. So, yeah. So, Day, are you willing to go on this one, or you want to defer?
I'm going to go on this one. I really think it's going to be cash because of the fan base. Wow, this one's going to be oh, wow. Kyle said this is going to be a flop. Wow. I'm going to say cash basically because, it's a different. It's just with the Planet of the Apes, it's always an audience.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to be, and it's doable. 100 and what again?
120, 120.
Yeah, it's doable.
Wait, it would need 240, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
And it comes out the week after Ryan Gosling's movie.
Yep.
Yeah, it's doable.
I'm going to say it's doable also. Mainly because of the fact that people get their tax refunds back, so then I have more discretionary income. Rob?
We'll go ahead and do Ryan. I'll do it last.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not as confident about this one, to be honest. There's a lot that is not really helping this movie. You do not have the original director from the original trilogy, which I think was who was that? That was Shawn Mendes, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, you have a different director. This takes place 300 years after the last movie, so none of the characters from that trilogy are going to be available, which means there is no Andy Serkis doing mocap. So there is no Caesar. There is a Caesar, but it's not Caesar. And even the two leads being played by Freya Allen and what's his face? Owen Teague.
Mm-hmm.
These are Netflix actors. Freya, from The Witcher. Teague, he's been on a multitude of different Netflix shows. Black Mirror sticks out in my mind more so. And Lock and Key. So these are actors that aren't exactly going to be faces to drive this movie in theaters. There's no big name attached to this thing. There's no characters that are going to resonate with anybody from the previous movies. The original director's not a part of it. The only reason this movie is coming out is because now Disney owns this property and they want to be making some money off of it. So I can't see a lot of people going ahead and seeing this, especially after they already blew their proverbial monkey load during Godzilla and Kong. And this is not going
bad visual image on that one, by the way. Thank you very much.
This is not going to be able to do that same kind of money just because you have CGI monkeys. All right, sorry, apes. It's going to be a much more murky, a much more sour type of story, even if it is a story of discovery for one part. But it's not going to give people probably what they're looking for. Now, more power to the actors, absolutely. I hope it does do well, at least for their sake. But compared to everything else that's coming out this month, I don't see it.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So Rob says trash.
All right.
And that's because Ryan, you have some very great points. And two, we just saw Ghostbusters did trash. And that's something we thought would have hit the ballpark that should have made way more money than what it did. And if that movie can't even make profit, this movie definitely. You can't just.
Well,
expect because there's a fan base. Because there's a whole fan base of Ghostbusters, but you didn't see that make the money. So I really think this is going to be trash.
But don't estimate the audience. I always tell people, because what might have happened with one franchise may not happen to the other.
I'm just saying, and I mean, it's its own different spinoff again. So now you got, I don't know. Like I said, I really trash. I don't want to go see the CGI monkey.
I don't think it's going to crush, but I think it'll do enough to break even and then some to cover what the rules are on this side. But it's not doing Dune numbers or Kong numbers, but it's doing enough to basically break even.
I can't wait until me and Ryan are right.
Okay.
Time will tell, sir. So, all right, gotta keep doing that shit. Okay. All right, so moving on to this sweet, charismatic, always G-rated, never making anything like, rotten or, dirty in any regard. Ryan Reynolds, John Krasinski. I don't have a budget number on this. It's wedged in between this and obviously Garfield, but it's Ryan Reynolds. It's John Krasinski directing, which I think is very interesting in this case. There's a lot of good voices, I think, in this thing as well. So I will go with cash on this just because of the fact that it's Ryan Reynolds, and it's separated far enough apart from his next Ryan Reynolds movie that I think it'll be okay. But Louis Gossett, John Krasinski, Steve Carell, Matt Damon, Jon Stewart, Rudolph, Emily Blunt, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, although, Chris Maloney is in this thing, which I think is hilarious, Bobby Moynihan. So you've got enough voice people in this to make this work.
What is it rated?
What's that?
What is it rated?
I believe it's rated G.
Really? Is this a G movie?
Yeah.
Not even PG?
Maybe PG.
It's rare that you see a G movie anymore. That alone would just be like
either PG or G.
Yeah, see, I'm not finding it yet.
Because if it's
really haven't posted the rating.
Nah. Maybe it hasn't been.
That is interesting.
the trailer made it look like it could go either way. This is either going to be a kids movie, or this is not going to be a kids movie.
It looks like it actually is a PG rating.
It's a kids movie, man. It's not going to be.
It's still a kids movie anyway.
It'll probably be off PG.
And it's Ryan Reynolds.
Like theatrics or something. I doubt they're. I don't think an imaginary friend is going to be like smoking or anything like that.
This isn't Ted.
It's exactly.
Or whatever that one was, or whatever the Disney one was about the period.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Whatever that movie was.
Oh my God, dude! What? Oh my God!
I'm saying this isn't that.
Oh God! Disney actually did a movie, animation like that?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, about basically what Ryan knows the movie I'm talking about. But it was a movie about having your period.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
How have you not heard about this day?
I mean, more than that, way more than that,
much more than this.
But yes, the whole becoming of womanhood allegory is not lost on anybody.
Yeah,
at least I hope not.
It wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't bad, but it's just actually thinking about the movie now. It's like, oh my God!
Come on, you can see the parallel. But okay,
yeah,
so
I'll talk off the show about that.
If I think much in the same way that Fall Guy is going to go ahead and hit that note for guys, machismo, octane sort of action. This is probably as sweet and as family oriented as we may get this summer.
Yes.
And if Kung Fu Panda 4 has shown us anything, there is still a market for the family-oriented movie, the thing that you can take kids to. I will admit, I maybe misguessed on Kung Fu Panda 4, so I am learning from my mistake here.
We did. I think most of us did.
And again, the fact that this is going to be coming up towards Memorial Day weekend, when a lot more families are going to be having the next couple of weeks to have time together. Schools, in some cases, will be out before June, especially if you're college-oriented. So you have an opportunity to get more younger audiences in to see something like this. So by all means, I definitely feel like this could be a hit. Plus, yeah, the talent that you have behind this thing, it's one of those things where it's like you have so many good actors, name brand actors, whether it's doing the voices like Steve Carell is doing for the Purple People Eater here, and Ryan Reynolds, who's actually going ahead and taking his snark and making it a little bit more fun and lovable than he does with Deadpool. It's almost like a perfect storm. You have so many great things. It's an embarrassment of riches. So I would hate to see something like this falter in any way, shape, or form. But I think if you have that much talent, spreading the word about it, it will get to enough people.
Also, from the standpoint of the quick paycheck, a lot of these were probably done remotely because so much voice work can be done remotely through like Source Connect. So you can sit there literally in whatever your voiceover room is, or even your basement, and you can do the entire script all the way through with the entire cast, just basically parking your underwear at home. You may have to do some pickups later, but as a result, it is the voiceover work is some of the fastest, easiest paychecks if you are locked into that industry. Holy hell. Voice actors in anime, dude, they never leave the house. But okay. So I'm going to say cash. Is everybody cashing this one?
Cash.
Copy that.
All loving it.
Okay. We got one more. Oh, boy.
This is why we're loving it. Because if we're going to have a family-friendly movie, we want if and not this.
And ladies and gentlemen, be prepared.
Yeah, I just had to update that real quick. Garfield. Now, I'm old enough to remember the original specials with Lorenzo music. Here Comes Garfield and all of those. Garfield Halloween, which was one of the classics. Christmas, one of the greatest ones ever they did. I didn't mind the Bill Murray ones with Breckenmeyer. They were okay. But we have Chris Pratt voicing Chris Pratt in an animated film starring Chris Pratt. This movie's coming in at roughly $60 million right now. And I think coming on the heels of Ryan Reynolds' If, I don't care it's Memorial Day weekend. I think this is going to bomb and be bad. No one cares about Garfield anymore.
Well, I wouldn't say nobody doesn't care about Garfield. If Chris Pratt...
And Kyle, I'll help you in that department. I'll talk to you later.
Chris Pratt would have actually... I wish they would have got somebody else to do Garfield and actually give us the accent that we all know and love Garfield, and this movie would be a success. This is the case that it's not going to work the same as Mario did.
Right.
Mario, at first I thought it was going to be trash, but it made kind of more sense not having to hear the woohoo,
Yeah.
But we've had multiple movies of Garfield that we've all loved and watched, and so yeah, I didn't like this at all.
Here's the weird thing: Snoop Dogg is voicing a character called Snoop Cat,
and Samuel L. Jackson's in it.
Samuel Jackson is in it, which is also kind of weird. Hannah Waddingham and also Brett Goldstein, which I find is a weird alum connection of Ted Lasso characters. Bill Murray.
Yeah.
I mean, Lorenzo music first. Bill Murray, I can live with.
Here's the thing, and I understand the comparison with Super Mario Brothers. The difference there is that they at least changed the voice for a good reason, because obviously you don't want a stereotypical Italian doing this because it doesn't look right. So yeah, you do the funny voice for the
Let's go. All right, Luigi, let's stop today.
But it's
more Brooklyn.
Mario. What the hell?
I mean, it made sense in that case.
The movie won me over with Chris Pratt on that. I'll give you that. So I'm sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
I'm not here to necessarily bash on Chris Pratt's voiceover work, because he has proven between the Lego movies and through Super Mario Brothers that he is a draw when it comes to simply using his voice and using his energy. But if you're going to have an established character, someone that has been around for decades and has their particular vibe and motif and all of that, you try to do the voice at least. Just try. It's not hard to do a Garfield voice. You just gotta be like, you gotta have a sense of ennui. You know, almost like you have to be
deep and slow talking. Yeah,
it's almost like
and
Stephen.
angry.
You can talk like Stephen Wright. You can talk like Garfield, and he
Kinda like
doesn't do that. He doesn't even try.
I know.
The fact of the matter is, this is not voice acting. This is just voice using. You know, and that's the kind of thing that infuriates me. You could easily have just really made a good, solid animated Garfield film and used standard voice cast. Those people would definitely add a sense of energy and really stick true to the characters better than simply putting a name brand voice on the character and being like, "Oh, that's your Garfield now." No, I'd rather a Heathcliff movie, and Heathcliff is an asshole. But
Heathcliff, no one should terrorize the neighborhood.
Dude, I would love a Heathcliff movie instead, because at least you don't necessarily need to be anything. He only had one television show. He had one kind of voice, so you can go ahead and play around in that playground.
And I think that was Mel Blanc. Wasn't it Mel Blanc that voiced Heathcliff in that?
Probably. He had enough of that pitch in his voice, I remember. Yeah. But I mean, you get Heathcliff in the Cadillac Cats, and that is just a movie. That is a scene.
That was classic. Now, go ahead.
I feel bad for Odie. I feel bad for John. I feel bad for Normal, and Normal's the one you want to kick.
Yeah,
Normal has to be involved in this.
Who's voicing Normal in this, by the way?
God help him.
Who is it?
I don't know. Did you look?
Normal's name isn't showing up on IMDb.
You're gonna do this, and you're not even gonna have Normal?
Does not. Yeah, we got Vix, Jinx, Otto, John Arbuckle, of course, Marge, Odie, Roland, Nolan, Snoop Cat, Liz, Tour Guide Tracy, and Ethel.
And you're not going to use anything established except for John and Odie.
Yeah.
They may save it for
and Liz, because Liz is the veterinarian.
They may
Liz is John's girlfriend.
They may save it for a post-credit scene or something. You never know.
Maybe.
If there's a post-credit scene.
To set up the sequel that may or may not happen.
I'm sorry. I could care so less. It will make money. I'm sure it'll make money. You do
realize, of course, if we go ahead. Sorry, finish.
Oh.
You do realize, though, that if we get Chris Pratt on, our heads will be kissing so far up his ass, we could probably French kiss the man.
Dude, you want to do it? Fine. I'll be sick that day.
At this moment, what's your
something to talk about?
It's kind of like, and I may get hate for this, but just like I don't like Chris Hemsworth as the new Optimus Prime. I hated that trailer.
No, dude, a lot of people are okay with that because they preferred Peter Cullen. I mean, Peter Cullen's like almost 80 years old. I get you got to change it, but again, it's like you said, it's voice using, where you're using the A-list prestige and the social media following and all this kind of stuff to give them a role that they can just sit there and again, they can just operate out of their house, use Source Connect, just chill out. And just knock out a few lines, and think about it. I mean, even if they voice half the movie, that's only 40 pages of dialogue at most. That's pushing it in there. So you can knock that out in one single day and knock out everything and then do one pickup at the end after the animation is all done just to get all the nuances that need to be done because they do the voice, then they animate, and then they voice. So it is it is the easiest gig. I thought I had the easiest side hustle on the planet. No, voice acting is the easiest side hustle.
Yeah, it is.
Dude, you look at like Rob Paulson or Yuri Lowenthal or any of these people. Oh yeah, dude.
Steve Bloom does a great low voice. He would have been perfect. Which, by the way, birthday, I believe. Happy birthday, nice. Steve.
But here's the thing: Steve Bloom is too niche. He's anime. He's not mainstream.
What do you mean? More than just anime.
Wolverine at one point, so I mean.
Yeah, but my point is that people would know him more from like Cowboy Bebop or Samurai Champloo than they would like mainstream Chris Pratt stuff.
Right.
So you're getting the name hook.
I know. It would have been nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's my turn.
Yes, please. I don't know. I gotta think about this one.
Well, I'm just gonna basically let you know. I'm gonna go to a kiss, y'all.
Could we get Yuri Lowenthal? I don't know. I gotta think about it.
We've had him on the channel.
You interviewed him at the time, but
Why? Yeah. I'm really gonna go against all three of y'all. And I'm gonna say Cash.
because it's a Mickey Mouse production. What is this?
No.
I'm just gonna say for the sake of everything.
I said it's going to make money. I just hate that it's going to make money.
Oh,
I would rather it not make money. But I know it's so little kid oriented, like for kids that won't get what the story of If is. Real little kids. This is that kind of movie that you go ahead and the parents take them and put them in the theaters just to shut them up.
Hey, look. Okay, so actually, I'm not even sure. I don't even know what we decided on If. I know what I decided, but yeah, If and Garfield, I need you guys.
We said Cash on that.
Did all three of you?
Yeah, it's going to be If it's going to be Cash.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, but
to not make money.
all right. So Rob, I still need you on Garfield.
Trash.
You said trash.
Okay, just want to make sure I'm on the same page on this.
All right.
Okay.
I will say, and I will say Cash. Yeah.
I hope it's trash.
Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing. I think it's going to be trash. I'm just doing the voice opposite of what Davion's doing here. You know, I'm kind of channeling my Jersey here. You know, yeah. I'm going to pull the Jersey Italian thing that I really hate. This movie right here, this freaking movie is going to go absolutely nowhere. You know, Super Mario Brothers 2, which I hope is going to include Wart, which I think would be friggin' awesome. You know, or maybe Rosalina, I think, from Peaches. You know, you know,
and then to counteract, Scott goes with Pete if he was working at a Brooklyn pizzeria voice.
And what you said about me?
Panucci's Pizza.
Mickey Mouse with a wedgie.
I get no fly.
Howdy ho, cow. Golly, you smell an awful lot like flowers. How you doing?
Garfield movie. It's gonna be
Garfield. Listen to me now. I hate Mondays and I like lasagna. Arnold Schwarzenegger is Garfield. Listen to me, Odie. I'll kill you 70. And then of course you got to have like Liam Neeson. You know, I know a great many different. Actually, I can't even do Liam Neeson, but something we're taking where he talks about that with Odie. Oh God, I'm not even drunk enough, and yet I'm acting like this.
Like it'll be true.
Oh, I might.
Yes. Wait. Okay, wait. Time out. Okay, Rob. Give me like basically, I hate Mondays and I love lasagna as Shaggy.
Like I hate Mondays, man, and I love lasagna.
I don't believe that he loves me. That's it.
Oh
Well,
God!
make sure there's no meat, man, because I'm like vegetarian.
Well, Shaggy always have to hold these.
Hey, you know, we got to figure this thing out here. You know. All right. So anyway, I think we got this thing done here. You know, how to figure out. Okay. So, oh God, my abs are killing me right now too. All right, gents, are we good at this point? I think we are. Sorry to whoever was watching this. I've been seeing the numbers.
Oh, I know one last thing I want to add regarding, because I was supposed to do a review on the Netflix Good Times.
Oh yeah.
And I forgot.
You want to do that now?
Yeah, it has to be done.
Hey,
audience. So,
hang on a minute.
Okay. So, we could just fool around, talk around. Yeah.
There we go. I'm going to open it up for you. There you go, sir.
All right.
Speaking of voice acting,
I actually saw the trailer. And then, okay, let me start off with the trailer. First off, as a Black person watching this trailer, I felt as though it was a degrading slap in the face towards us as a people without actually getting input. Seth MacFarlane, I don't know if he was the producer or writer of this or actor. It still came off as discriminatory. Even with the trailer, it just came off as discriminatory. Steph Curry. I think you should get your black card revoked.
Oh,
because you should have spoke out about what type of quality and content that show presented in a way where it degraded us as a people. With that said,
by the way, looking at the producers, Seth MacFarlane is an executive producer, yes.
Okay.
As is Steph Curry, as is Norman Lear.
Who's
because he did the original one from the 70s. He might be producer in name only, like Mel Brooks was with History of the World too.
Oh.
The thing is, here's the thing. There's like, if I look at the IMDb credits, there's like 24 executive producers. I would say the majority of them aren't white. And yet, probably the most notable ones are. So it's like, I don't know who really had the power or the sway in this. It's hard to tell.
All right. So just to add, I actually watched episode 1.
Go for it.
I watched half of episode 1 one day and finished the rest the next day. And it was a 30-minute episode.
Okay. So you could only get 15 minutes at a time.
It was that bad.
Oh,
and it was really that bad. And just to let everybody know, it's worth what Rotten Tomatoes gave it. I could not watch the whole episode that one day because it was unbearable. A drug dealing baby. How is that freaking funny?
You know, this cast, though, I mean, this is
and nobody in the cast really spoke out about it.
No, and when you look at the people who are involved, Jay Farrow, Yvette Nicole Brown, J.B. Smoove, Godfrey, Little Rel Howley, Avion Crockett, notable voice actors like Lee Summer and Phil Lamar, Gary Anthony Williams. You've got some good talent on something like
Great talent.
And y'all did not speak up about it. That's what killed me. Y'all read the script and y'all couldn't say, yo, I can't do this, or this is a poor representation of what Good Times was. Like, this could have been its own opposite. It didn't even have to be called Good Times. It could have been something else. And even with that, I couldn't watch it because it was so degrading.
That's a shame.
It's one of those cash grab on name only things.
You know, Good Times was a funny show at times, but
I think
it was one of those comedies that was like, it was just as serious with its subject matter when it needed to be, on top of the comedy. And that's why you had JJ there, you know.
Yeah.
Dynamite.
Yeah, Jimmy Walker voiced the character in the show too.
Right, but that's the thing. He was the comedy relief.
Yes.
On a show like that. The whole show necessarily wasn't comedy because it talked about some deep stuff, especially in regards to the community at that time, which otherwise the only shows you had were like the Jeffersons and such.
Like
so it was pivotal in that sense.
And I know we're late talking about this, and we do apologize. Like, we should have said something earlier.
On my side, I'm sorry, it's on me.
I should have basically did a review earlier as well, but with the stuff that was going on, it kind of interfered.
Oh, fair.
But at the same time, I'm glad that Rotten Tomato actually had critics and viewers that actually spoke out and said how bad this series was. It was really that bad.
The comments on IMDb from the user reviews are unmitigatingly brutal. Oh, dude, they are not. Yeah. Good Times reboot flounders above water. 1 out of 10, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 1 out of 10, 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 is not that bad.
Better or worse than Velma.
Better. Velma was better.
But
Wow.
Velma got a second season.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. We'll talk about that when the time comes.
But this one, I think this is just canceled. It's going to be canceled. They're not going to do a second season. It's already obvious because of the reviews. At least with Velma, it's like
Velma got very bad reviews, and it got a second season. It got
Exactly.
no.
Yeah.
That was already in the contract. They were already in the contract to get 2 seasons on that anyway.
yeah.
No. Well,
So it
So
didn't matter
that's
how
the
good or
only
bad it was.
That was the only reason. But this, no. I'm sorry. If they do a second season, watch a lot of Netflix subscribers cancel this subscription. Yeah,
Until Stranger Things 6 comes out or 5 comes out.
correct. But I had to convince people not to cancel their subscription because that's just one bad content at all. And like I told people, I do not blame Netflix. I do not blame any of the white producers that was a part of that series. And people are like, oh, why not? Because if somebody don't know the culture, how can you blame somebody that doesn't know the struggles that, or experience the struggles like the ones that actually are producing, like Steph Curry and the rest of the cast that understands living in the projects and trying to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. Like those people we gotta pick, make accountable of. Like they the ones that know the struggles that Black people went through, trying to get out of the projects to have a better life. But then you try to basically make this and make it like, oh, being in the struggle is funny and cool without no message behind it. That's why I said you could have called it something else, but not use Good Times as a title from what Good Times used to be. This is not Good Times. This is a hanky-pank, watered, uncensored garbage that basically say, this is what we think of Black people. And I do not recommend watching this. I think that people should be held accountable for allowing certain type of content like this to get out. It's not funny. And it's just putting us backwards, not forward. And that's all I gotta say.
All right. Yeah, I knew you wanted to talk about that for a while. And the original series, I caught a few episodes. I mean, if it's on in the background, I catch it at the right time with cable, I will throw it on. They had an episode on of Good Times about a week ago or so, maybe a week and a half. It was one of those very special episodes where Junior gets suspended from school. And in this story, by the way, am I echoing?
Yeah, you're echoing.
Shit. I don't know what happened there. I'll figure that out. There was an episode where Junior gets suspended from school for saying that George Washington was racist because he owned slaves, because that was commonplace back in the era. And the episode the short version on this is they did it. They covered the slavery thing in such a way that they both showcased what Black inventors were able to do and slaves were able to accomplish, as inventors and politicians, things like that. But also at the same time showcasing what George Washington himself had done for the country in the era that he was in. So it was one of those things where I found it interesting because it never brought everybody down or bring down certain people to bring someone else up. It uplifted everybody in the process. And I thought that is a 70s TV show versus what you would see today.
Correct.
And of course, Jimmy Walker went dynamite.
No, the way Dave was talking about Good Times is kind of similar to how people were talking about Santa Inc. Remember when that came out?
Yes. Seth Rogen.
It almost feels like it has that same vibe. Again, I haven't watched it, and by the sound of it, I probably never will. But there is something to be said when people go ahead and they make a show, let alone an animated show, where you have a lot of liberty about what can be done on the screen, and you don't necessarily give it any redeeming factor. If you can go ahead and do whatever you want with your characters and characterize them however you want to, have them say whatever you want to, have them do whatever they want to with very little consequence, because next episode is just going to be a regular old thing. And if they, they fell off a building, doesn't mean they're dying. They just bounce back. If you can go ahead and do that, and still the show doesn't have anything redeemable about it to make you feel like, hey, I want to recommend this to somebody, don't make the show.
But you know what it is? Netflix has to continue to come out with new content because Hulu is constantly doing it and Disney's constantly doing it. They have to continue to come out with new stuff because everybody else is, and you got to keep up with the Joneses. It's not about good content. It's about immediate content.
Yes, but I believe that there is good immediate content out there. It's just not getting seen because the bad content is putting a sour taste in people's mouths.
And you could be, and I think you're 1,000% right there. Yeah. But it's about getting the stuff out now to keep the stock price up, to have something to promote, to have something to basically to broadcast about. So, all right.
Well, it doesn't really help my argument in regards to comedy on television, now does it?
Hey, dude, I backed you up on this, and I wasn't going into this backing you up. I was actually going in against you, and I actually joined you on this one. So
then it's like, okay, maybe you have a point.
But basically, major cable networks of the 80s and 90s. I had that up for a split second, but okay.
And I do apologize for making it down there, ladies and gentlemen.
Dude, no, listen, not bad. You're allowed to review things. It's okay. We will allow you to review things.
And now we'll bring it positive with what happened this weekend.
Yes. What happened this weekend?
What happened this weekend is because of...
on the big screen.
Okay.
Oops. Yep.
So what happened this weekend, because of this wonderful company called Streampunk Entertainment, we went to the Cherry Blossom Festival. And for anyone that doesn't know what the Cherry Blossom Festival is, it is an annual thing that happens every year in Marshfield, Missouri, and they attach it to a thing called Nostalgic Fest. And you had all kinds of different people there this weekend. You had original cast members from Little House on the Prairie. You had 7 original cast members. People like Nelly, Miss Beadle, Baby Grace, Almanzo, and a couple other people. And then you had people like, I know Scott liked, you had Barney Miller, Max Gale. You had one of the Rebecca Holden from Knight Rider, and you had all these different kinds of people that you would not normally see. And what's crazy about this event is it is free to go to. It's free. You go right in the gym. You get to meet whoever you want. The only thing you pay for is for autographs or selfies. And majority of the people were cheap, like $20 a piece. And you don't see that nowadays. And if you brought your own item, most of them were only $10. So that's one of the things I love about the Cherry Blossom Festival compared to going to a convention, because it is going to a convention, but it's just celebrities. And then you get to see one person I got to see this weekend was the last surviving witness of the German surrender. He's 101 years old. And it was insane. He was just there. And yeah, so we had a really good time. I suggest everybody, if you're around this area, and it's crazy. There's people that flew from Florida for this event. There's people from St. Louis. There's people that traveled all over for this event. It's something I definitely suggest next year. I know next year will be the 20th, so they may go all out. And so yeah, the Cherry Blossom Festival, great thing. We've got many interviews coming up.
Yes.
A couple that, let's just say, we don't have audio, so we'll have to reschedule an interview with them, and hopefully that goes well. But yeah, but it was great. I love the Cherry Blossom. Get that guy's autograph. I do have his. I actually bought his book. I don't. Hold up. I've got it right on the table. Let me grab his.
So if we're talking about the Cherry Blossom event,
Yeah,
Look,
it's their second year doing. It's Stream Punk's second year doing that too. So,
so this is the guy, and his autograph is on the first page. So,
wow.
and this is his book. So I picked it up. And
My father would be really interested in that too.
what?
My father would be really interested in that too.
Yeah. I think he has. I'll send you the. He has a website where you can order one, Scott.
Okay. Yeah. Let me know about that. I'd be interested in taking a look.
Hold on. Just show that cover for a second again.
Yeah.
I just see. Yeah, just that. Better mustache than Chris Pratt's.
Dude, you know what? That mustache is so like Captain America: First Avenger.
That is pencil.
That is that is a Hollywood style mustache right there too, and it's actually accurate this time.
Bro,
Right.
that is style.
Looks better than Tony.
That's the Vince McMahon mustache.
Looks like Howard Stark.
That's when you want to catch just a little
Howard
bit,
Stark, yes.
you don't want to go over.
Yeah.
But yes, we did get his autograph. And very awesome guy. And he's 101 years old, so it's crazy.
Nice. So
Cool.
cool.
So yeah, that's the Cherry Blossom Festival.
And then we're going to talk about HorrorCon.
You want to talk about HorrorCon?
Might as well.
All right, there we go. I think we'll wrap up on that unless you
Yeah.
got something else. But yeah,
All right.
HorrorCon we should definitely do because that also ties into Jabronis United in a lot of different ways, which I need to talk about you guys with.
Yeah. Well, I was at HorrorCon. I was pretty much invited because of a film that I'm in was nominated and was screened at the convention. Long story short, I met a lot of people. I met the guy that voiced Goofy.
The Goof Troop, always stick together.
Max.
Max. Jason Marsden.
Yes.
The Goof
I
Troop.
met, the guy that played in Hook.
Yes. Thud butt.
The butt.
Yeah.
And I met the actual Friday the 13th Jason.
Yes.
Well, the most famous Jason. He wasn't the original, but he
There
is
was
the
a-
most.
We've interviewed a few Jasons over the years.
Yeah, he's the most known Jason, I'd say, of the franchise.
Here's where, can I interject on this where I find this really interesting? So you also interviewed on the wrestling side. This is more the Jabronis thing. And Kyle, if you're listening, this applies to you weirdly enough too. So you interviewed Jason Knight, who was big with ECW in the 90s. Jason Knight, right before you interviewed him, I had a conversation with him and his wife for an hour because we are producing the pay-per-view event for ECW Wrestling at the in October. ECW Wrestling, which, by the way, their arguably most famous ring announcer was recently interviewed by Ryan in the form of Joel Gertner. These weird worlds colliding sort of thing with the ECW side of things is happening right now on so many different fronts.
I'm sorry. I know Day and I are wrestling people, and you're still new to the whole wrestling thing. I do have to make a couple of corrections.
Okay.
One, the event is not necessarily an ECW event. It is being done by Assault Wrestling, which is Jason Knight's own personal brand that he uses in the tri-state area. It's definitely done some work around Philly, and of course, it is going to be doing a show later on this year in South Jersey, which I believe is the one that you're talking about. We'll be doing the pay-per-view for. Also, Joel Gertner was not necessarily a ring announcer. He wasn't like a Fink or a JoJo or anything like that. He was a manager. He was a correspondent behind the desk. He was an interviewer in some cases. He was a show host. He was a lot of things. He is, as he quotes himself, a lyrical miracle. But he was never a ring announcer. In that traditional sense, I should.
Yeah, the ring announcer.
He did it in his own way. But
okay.
You can see that whole interview on Stream Punk Combat channel right now.
Yes.
And just to add, the most popular ring announcer for ECW is Joey Styles.
Yes, that I will give you. Joey Styles, absolutely. Between him and his play-by-play, he was definitely the voice of ECW in that sense, if not Paul Heyman.
So now that I've been corrected live on air,
no, we reverse back to
Ryan. I feel like I may have had a conversation with you recently on something like this.
No. Because here's the thing. We are introducing you to wrestling. I know wrestling. Day knows wrestling. Rob, do you know wrestling?
I know Mick Foley.
Okay, close enough.
Not enough.
You are, baby,
No, I literally know Mick Foley.
You are the one that we are indoctrinating into the world of the mat. And for that, we are making sure that you are coming out smarter than we are. That is how much we care. That is how much we want you to absorb, like a sponge, soaking up all the sweat and blood that comes off of the four-sided ring. Sorry, I talked to Joel Gertner a little bit too much because I am just going.
Yes, you are quite the cunning linguist. In this case, suffice it to say, back to my original point, is that we have this strange worlds colliding on 3 different levels here that is all tying into something that's going to be occurring on October 12th when we have a pay-per-view event down in South Jersey, that I will be announcing and discussing further as we get closer. You guys are involved in this if you want to be. But yeah, between my conversation with Jason Knight and Desiree, Davion's conversation with Jason Knight, Ryan's conversation with ECW Joel Gertner, we have this weird cacophony of things that are just randomly happening together. And I find that fascinating.
Basically, what we're saying is, Rob, you need to fly yourself out to Jersey and come to the show.
And one last thing.
I'll put you to work and pay you. So
Hey,
those that work the event get paid for the event.
if we can figure out flight travels, I'd be down.
Fly up to Philly, probably.
If you want to get in the buddy costume and get in the ring,
Yeah,
I'm all for that.
let's do it.
Hey, I might get in the ring.
He is taller than people realize he is. Rob
I'm
Manning.
6'5".
I know. And one last thing.
Okay.
It was an honor also talking and having a conversation, even though I wasn't able to get an interview with him. Michael Hargrove, who is Candyman for the new version.
Mm-hmm.
And I have an autograph sign of Candyman.
Ooh.
Nice.
He actually showed it. Is that who I think that is? Who signed that?
Michael Hargrove.
Oh,
Can you get that screen a little bit closer to the camera and like turn it a little bit so we can see inside? No, other way. Oh, yeah, no, he's got the hook and everything. I like that. Very nice.
And I would like to thank him as well, because he was awesome, phenomenal. Even the other the guy, oh God, he was on South. He was in the movie South Central, and he was in the other movie of Jason Go to New York. He was the guy that boxed Jason to the edge of the rooftop, and he got
fist to fist with Jason.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
No, not Michael Hargrove. Another actor I met.
Oh,
it was another actor I met.
Well, where's his Funko Pop?
He didn't have a Funko Pop.
And he boxed Jason Voorhees. You know how many people even got the chance to do that?
By the way, the high water mark Punk Entertainment is 440 Funkos. Brandon K.
I'll have to count because I'm pretty sure I have more.
Count them. Demas was so proud of his 181 and got blown out of the water by Kyle. I'm sorry, by Brandon.
I have to ask, what classifies as Funko?
Well, he is supposed to send a picture, I think, too.
Well, what I'm asking is, are we classifying, because these are Funko Pez, or are we just classifying the regular, obviously, Funko Pops?
I don't know. We'll get into that in due course.
That's my question. Because they are Funko products. They are Funko.
Yeah.
And technically, my Turbo Man that is a Walmart exclusive. That's made by Funko.
Turbo Man.
Come on.
Turbo Man.
The
Put
guy
that cookie down. No.
And just to add, the guy I was referring to, the one that boxed Jason, his name is Vincent Craig Dupree.
Nice. All right, gents. I got to go medicate a cat unless you got anything else.
I think that's
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah, we've been on for almost an hour. But we also haven't been on for 3 weeks, so I mean, it makes sense. We got a lot to talk about.
A lot of catch up there, yeah. So, all right, gentlemen, I think we're good. Anything else?
I think we're good.
Okay, so I will do it for this time around. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. I saw the numbers on that. We have one more comment. Let me throw this comment in, whatever it is. Yes, that's what they're calling it these days. I could say something, but I'm not going to. Sticking a needle into something that's also a euphemism for a cat, but I'll leave that to your own imagination. Anyway, I'm Scott. That's Davion. That's Ryan, and that is Mr. Robert, Buddy the Elf Manning. Films at Streampunk Cinema. Thanks. Take care, and as always, stay awesome.